More field stabilized. For a turn of the heat. We gotta move.
Alright guys, welcome back to State of the Game. We're going to be talking about the other matchups now, and I think, Dan, you're going to be leading the conversation here, so why don't you go ahead and start?
Alright, well, QXC, you have to pee?
It was a joke, Dan.
Oh, okay. I don't know, man. I'm like, oh, I can start with
The
PvZ, man.
What the fuck are you fucking
Alright,
Dan?
let's talk about the new layer tech land broodlords with cloak. Let's talk about those. Let's talk about them. Here's the thing, they're not hard to kill yet, but I think every Zerg is not good with them yet. People are going to figure these out eventually, the swarm hosts, for anyone who didn't get that reference. The Zergs are going to figure out the swarm host, and that is, I think, ZVP is going to evolve into swarm host play, because these fuckers are like, if you have the right army with them, think about this. The kiting you can do, the mobility that they have over broodlords, these are better than broodlords. There, I said it, CatZ. You have a counter to that? It's a statement.
It does not fly, I guess.
It does not fly, but
Does not fly.
that's nice in a lot of ways too, because, I mean, yeah, you can like get them over a ledge or something, the broodlords, but if you look at the ways that we deal with broodlords, does the flying matter? I would much rather have my stuff be underground, because now I have to get a detector in there in PvZ, and to have a detector there, I mean, you either have a lot of queens with it, or you have a lot of hydras with it, sometimes you have corruptors, but you're going to take out my detection every time, and I am not going to be able to kill all of them. It's just, it's impossible. Sure, I'll have an oracle on the side, and then you're like, oh, that thing has like less hit points than an observer, and then you just kill it. But like, I think the thing is, I'm not having problems with them. I'm not like complaining about balance, but I think this is going to become the go-to unit in Zerg vs Protoss, because just look at the damn range on them. The fact that you can burrow them, hit stuff, jump up, run away to another area, hit stuff. I mean,
Don't Colossus kill the Locusts pretty good?
Both Colossus and tanks shut down the Locust pretty good. But I can see what Dan is saying. I don't think many Zergs are playing the Swarm Host right yet.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you go 3-base Swarm Host, because I've seen the 2-base Swarm Host, and against 2-base Swarm Host, if you go 2 Robo Colossus, you'll kill it every time.
Yes.
But if you have like more bases and actually more production, the Colossus isn't enough. Especially if you see they're going 2 Robo Colossus and you go into Aspire with this, like, there's no gas left for Protoss. Well, I know it's a lot of gas, but
like Corruptors and Swarm Hosts.
Yeah, they're both really mineral intensive.
It's the thing is, like, you don't have to get it right away, because you have to get quite a few Colossus to cut through. Like, you want like 5 Colossus to really cut through Locusts. And the amount of time it takes to get there, the amount of gas it takes Protoss to get there, and the fact that Protoss is always going to be down a base against the Zerg. I mean, I don't think Colossus is actually how people are eventually going to counter like ridiculously good Swarm Host play. I think it's going to be mobility based. Like, you know, it's kind of like a slow army. You're going to be going Warp Prisms, Blink, Mothership Core, that type of thing.
Yeah, that was my first thought too. My first suggestion ever was, you know, if they're containing you with Swarm Hosts, make a Warp Prism, take a probe with it, make a Nexus somewhere else, recall your entire army there, and kill the Zerg. I mean, like, Nidus play is pretty effective with Swarm Hosts, but I actually don't think... I think the later it gets, the worse Swarm Hosts get.
Did you guys know Zealots are awful against Swarm Hosts?
Yes, they're terrible. They're, like, fucking horrible.
I just opened a unit tester, because I did this when I played Stefano. He went Swarm Hosts against me, and I had no idea how to deal with them, because it was the first time I'd seen the unit. And I just, like, A-moved a bunch of units at Locust. Zealots are awful source stalkers. Wow, this looks so hard.
You can't fight against Locusts. Like, when they get a certain amount, and they take the upgrades. So, like, you can open Roach into Storm Host, you can open Hydra into Storm Host. Hell, the Queens share upgrades. Like, a lot of people are going, like, a bajillion queens and swarm hosts, and you have so many transfusions, and you have so many overseers that you can't see the damn things. It's like nothing dies because you're fighting free units and queens with transfuse, and it's like, oh my god.
Okay, but the problem with transfusing the swarm hosts is if you're transfusing the swarm hosts, is if the swarm hosts are taking damage, you probably already lost.
No, I mean you're transfusing the queens because the queens, they're so fat and they have like so many hit points and stuff that when I play against that style, that's what they do. And again, I'm not actually having problems dealing with it yet, but I see how terrible everyone is with it,
wow,
and I realize that
really bad too.
it's
like I actually think that I don't think so. I think the later it gets in the game, the worse they become, because the AoE that Protoss has, like if you're countering swarm hosts, you can basically ram through it. Like if you're going 3 base into swarm hosts, you have to be spending economy before that into, you know, stopping pushes or applying pressure and preventing the Protoss from taking a third and shit like that. So I think like 1 Colossus or 2 Colossus already counter a good number of swarm hosts. If you just keep adding on to that or add storm and shit like that, I think it gets better for Protoss.
I think the problem that I have with that, because this is all theory crafting right now, because no one's good at this yet. Again, I want to stress that to everyone because I'm sure everyone's hit these things and be like, oh, that's easy to kill. But yeah, you can splash through the locus. But the problem that I have, what's the range with the upgrade? Like, what range does a swarm host actually have?
Oh, like how far are you talking on creep or off creep?
It's really long, but you have to take into account that the closer they are, the more attacks they can actually get off. If they're really far away, they might shoot once. So
and it's going to be like a situational thing, I'm sure, plus a math thing about where to put them. But like, let's say that Protoss is trying to break out, right? You let the balls pop out to go shoot and attack at them, right? Every time you're going to do damage. And you pop them up and you run them to another location. Actually catching those is super hard, and the entire time you're going to have to like heavily micro your detection to actually see these things, because there's going to be something that hits air there, whether it's Hydras or Queens or Corruptors. So I feel like eventually this is going to be so insane because they have more range than a Broodlord. They're earlier tech than a Broodlord. You need detection for them, and they share upgrades of the units that are going to basically keep you alive against everything until the late game.
Yes, but the Broodlord attack hits you. Like the Stormhood doesn't have to hit you.
That's true. But the Locusts are 1,000 times better than Broodlings.
Yes,
okay, wait, absolutely. I got it. I know how we can fix this.
Okay.
Shield batteries. And then you could use Archon.
I mean, that would definitely stop any Stormhost all-in. But again, like I think the reason that Zergs are going for Stormhost all-in, it's because the later it gets, I think they get worse against Protoss. Like against Mech, I think that they are more viable because of that micro that you're talking about, combined with like Nidus Worms and shit like that. You can actually kind of kite the Mech, right? And kind of like get a few shots off back, maybe fungal in place to get a new, like an extra shot in.
Yeah.
But against Protoss, once the army catches onto you, like if they break your contain, you die. There is no transition out of that.
That is true. That is true. Like, and that's actually, I think, maybe one of the problems with it, because you have to, against Swarm Hosts, hit with overwhelming force with Protoss. Like, you have to just overwhelm and crush it. You can't have a close battle against that stuff.
Absolutely.
Which, I mean, that's always an issue in balance for anything. Like, you don't ever want to really have that be the way that it has to be. But what does that make it into? That kind of makes it into, like, a kind of, like, a mech army of Zerg, if that makes any sense, where like you want to overwhelm as opposed to just fight it and be okay. But
yeah,
I don't agree with the late game stuff, because I think everyone right now is kind of using them somewhat early game in these all-ins that you're saying, and I think that's the problem, because I think they're going to be much more powerful with the right unit combination later on, where you have so many locusts. And the thing is, people are addicted to one hotkey. Now, let's say that you have a lot of Swarm Hosts late game, and you have them on 2 hotkeys. Now, you burrow one, and you send out the Locust, and suddenly I've used a couple Storms, but then suddenly you burrow your second group, while your first group, like, leapfrogs back or something, you know, and then another set of Locusts comes out way quicker than I imagined. Maybe I'm trying to be fancy and blink forward to catch stuff, but now there's already more Locusts, and you can stifle when these things actually do attack. So I feel like there's, like, infinity more games needed for Zergs to actually figure out how to use this right against Protoss. But I disagree with them necessarily becoming worse in the late game just because now I also have Storm with Colossus or something like that.
So
Yeah, they're also kind of supply inefficient, which is like
They're 4 supply, right?
3.
3, but still like.
And they're supply inefficient.
Well, they're not supply inefficient if they stay in the game forever, but they are in straight up battles.
But that's the thing with the range, though. That what I'm trying to say is they should never be in a battle.
So
they should always be so far away.
Wait. Swarm host, I was testing it because I'm in a
You have to eventually defend, though.
Shut up for a second! The Locusts have range of right around like 2.5 screens with the upgrade.
It's going to be
So
hard.
2.5 screens, it never shoots, though. You got to realize that.
Yeah.
So,
I'm saying that's the maximum range. So probably realistically is they're going to be about a screen away so that they can still attack.
Mm-hmm.
Which is probably on the order of 20 range, maybe 25. Because Tempest is 15, and I think it's a little more than a Tempest.
Yeah, it's got insane range. It doesn't shoot quickly at all, though. And
no,
people
it
are
it's
like
very slow shooting.
Yeah, people are actually talking about like nerfing that because I think that Stormhost Solins are really hard to stop. They seem kind of frustrating for Protoss, but I think that's more of a matter of like I think what Dan said, like the if you go to double robo right away, if you scout it like with the hallucinated Phoenix, then it's not that hard to break at all.
No,
Stormhosts are really good. You know what? In combination with Vipers, they're amazing. Because then you can drag units into the locus, and then they're like bound to kill units and trade free units for units. But just in straight up battles, I don't see him as that powerful of units.
Can you go Sky? Like as a Protoss player, if your opponent goes Swarm Host, can you just like immediately go into Mass Void Ray or something?
That's one way that I've killed it a lot. Like is going just 3 Stargate Void Ray, run around the map with my other crap, and try to delay. That's what I've had. But the thing is,
what about just making like 2 or 3 Tempest and then sniping the Swarm Host?
Yeah, the problem is with how far away that they do get is like let's just say that you have speed hydras with them, right? Getting the detection actually over there can be pretty difficult to do that and keep it there while your slow Tempest try to kill them off. Like that is kind of difficult. And the thing is, against the actual locusts, they do nothing. So if you're getting close enough, like they have twice the range of a Tempest. So if you're already halfway inside their range and you're trying to shoot them, then there's going to be a lot of locusts there fighting your army. So now you have to have your entire army under your Tempest, which is against what the Tempest is actually really meant for. I can't just sit my High Templars there like I do against all the other Zerg compositions because this is all free shit that's coming at me. I can't like use storms on that all day long. It's not going to work out.
Right.
Can you have you ever tried using the Oracle to kill the locusts? Because it does have a really high DPS attack against light units.
It does. I've actually been using I've been using like 4 Oracles near my army a lot against like, especially when people go Mutas. If I go Phoenix, I get like 4 Oracles just to clean Lings because that's true. They kill those very, very fast. But
was that a dumb question? I heard cats make a noise.
I didn't think it was dumb.
I don't know. You're training energy for time. So I guess if the Oracle regenerated its energy in time for the next wave, then it would be worth it. But otherwise, I wouldn't see it as a response.
What I was thinking is this is a way to clear the wave, like when you're going to do your big push.
Okay.
Conjunction, clear the Swarm Host, and then you attack.
But now how much gas are we getting into, really? Like, now I have 2 Robo Colossus, plus Storm, plus Oracles.
Well, I think if you go 2 Robo Colossus, you have the answer, right? Like, Mass Colossus...
No, that's against like a 2 base all-in. Like, you're going to crush it with that, but that's not what I'm talking about. I think everyone's playing these Swarm Hosts completely wrong. I think that, eventually...
3 base Swarm Host contain with like...
Well, I'm talking about just teching to Swarm. Like, I don't know how to do it yet, because if I did, I'd switch to Zerg and win GSL. But,
I think it's just undoable, to be honest. Like, if you have a Colossus Void Ray composition, you can't kill it with anything that Zerg has. Maybe like Ultra Hydra or something. Not with anything that in combination with Swarm Hosts, I think. Because even the Corruptors get shit on by the Void Rays. So.
Well, yeah, the Corruptors do get shit on by Void Rays right now. That is actually the Void Ray is a problem, I think. But no, I feel like just no one's using them well yet. Like I see all these things that I feel like Zergs could be doing to me, where there's like a swarm of locusts coming and the Hydras are behind them until they die, then they run away. And it just keeps coming back and forth. And the high DPS of the Hydras with the meat shield plus good DPS of the locusts. Anyways, this has been my prediction that we will see the Swarm Host like take over as the king unit in ZVP.
Swarm Host never is going to be used in PvZ. I'm calling it now. It's cursed. It's fucked.
I think the two-way all-in is good, and I think if they change the unit a little bit, it might be viable. Or in some situations, if you're trying to split the map for whatever reason, or something along those lines. What?
Archons are really good against Locusts.
Oh, probably. Anything with AoE is pretty good.
If you're spending your gas on Archons to fight against Locusts, I don't know what you're doing. That doesn't sound right to me.
I mean, I just compared 2 Colossus and 3 Archons, and the Archons killed the Locust faster, took less damage.
And they cost way more gas?
That's actually insane. Not if you're making with DTs. I think that's actually good. I would have never imagined that they fare better than Colossi. But then again, you're taking the range out of the exactly. You're taking the range out of the equation, which is pretty important. Like because you can't force field the Swarm Host. You can sort of force fields, for example, force field or sit behind a wall and hit him with the Archons while you could with the Colossi.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
but I didn't know that.
Hold on, we got to talk about Skytoss against Zerg. We've theory crafted a lot in the Swarm Host. CatZ, is there any way, if I have half the map in Tempest and Psystorm, is there any way you could kill me ever? Because I don't think there is. Okay.
There is.
Okay.
As long as you have an Oracle to reveal my side of the shit, you can't rely on observers because I could snipe those down and then you can't ever attack me either.
Reveal's the best, man. And whatever's in front, you just reveal it and you're like, ha!
Yep. I think the ultimate Zerg army composition, like, you know, the Broodlord Infestor of Zerg, like in Heart of the Storm, would be like Vipers and Static Defense. So maybe if I can split the map with just a line of fucking Spores.
I feel like...
maxed on Vipers, I can.
Tell me if you think this is accurate or not. I feel like feedback is too good against Vipers.
I think they get the pool at the same time, or it's like whoever casts first, something like that. I don't know if QXC is still on the unit tester.
Sure, I can do it.
Okay, because like they were a problem for me for like a day, and then I just High Templars, and then I was like, oh.
Yeah, the big problem is that you can sit the High Templars in front of your army.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. But if I actually pull the High Templars, like if I'm actually sitting behind Static Defense myself, there should always be something to pull.
Well, and then it brings me back to, can you stop me when I have Tempests and High Templars and Cannons and an Oracle?
Yeah.
Actually, I get 2 Oracles. I'm impatient.
Because you would, probably not. Because you would have the High Templars sitting in front of the Oracles, so even if I abduct the High Templars, I'll either get feedbacked or shot by the Tempest, right?
Yeah.
So, probably not.
It's pretty rough.
Ready? Shh.
Okay.
You pull it and you get feedbacked.
Yeah, exactly. So it's whoever casts first or the same, like if they cast from a range.
How many hit points does the Viper have?
150.
Okay. And how much energy is abduct exactly?
75.
Okay.
Blinding Cloud is 100.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the interaction. I mean, obviously I don't play this matchup at all, but I don't like this idea that there is a unit that specifically has an ability to like max out on energy, and then Protoss has a unit that specifically does more damage when your opponents have more energy on them. That I don't know, in my head it just seems like really weird and kind of unfortunate for those.
To be honest, that's like...
Oh, Dan, what if I had Infestors though? I could fungal your Templars without getting feedback. So maybe
I
then,
think
because
the Oracle plus Hallucination with those two, like Oracle's range on Revelation, that's the one that reveals stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
The range on that thing is actually pretty insane. Like I will always snag your front stuff, you know? And then, like, if you just use that plus hallucinations, I feel like you can't be broken. I've played games that are an hour and 20 minutes where I fucked up all game long, and then I just went that unit composition and win, you know? Like, it's... because if you're just completely patient and like you don't move from your cannons, because that's how you lose it, is you move from your cannons. But if you have your cannons there and you make sure you have energy for Storm, Zerg can't break you. That's for sure. You have to. I feel like you actually have to screw up. But getting into that unit composition can be a little bit hard.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, the thing is getting into the... Yeah, no, I love PvZ. Yeah, I think it's impossible to beat Protoss in the late game, realistically speaking, because I don't think that it's possible to split the map with static defense and Vipers without dying to a Zealot, you know? But, like, for example...
So you gotta
like,
abduct
the only...
your spine crawler.
Yeah.
Abduction train across the map.
There you go.
Yeah. Like, the only game for reference that I have that this is... probably the ultimate army composition is like a couple of free-for-alls, and that's because I'm relying on no one. I'm like, okay, well, if no one attacks me, I'll do the best that I can and win. And then I traded like pretty well with Baby Knight, who's a fantastic player, with this army composition. You know, like Infestor, Viper, and Static Defense against Tempest, Carrier, Storm. I just like abducted a bunch of shit.
Cannon push though, because like I feel like the cannons are so. Like, I just push across the map. I choose a location and just push slowly. Like, really, like, I don't move from over my cannons.
Yeah, makes sense.
Sounds like such an annoying player.
Oh, God.
Like,
you don't want to play me on the ladder, man.
Protoss.
It's...
How long are those games usually, Dan, for you?
My longest game so far in PvZ has been an hour and 22
You
minutes.
fucking asshole. It's a beta, man.
serious.
God damn it.
I wasn't mining for like 40 minutes straight. It was bad.
I would have just left that shit. It's so quick.
have a
People
question.
think that they can win if they have like 2 more bases than me. Fuck that shit, man. I got Psy Storm.
I have a question for Dan and CatZ.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a Zerg player, or have you ever used the Viper to abduct one of your own units to any kind of effect?
Haven't seen it.
I abducted on Daybreak. You can abduct Ultralisks onto their main.
Oh, that's sick.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That sounds really funny.
Yeah, it is hilarious.
Things
Obviously,
that
I
are
had the
being
game
abducted,
constantly.
can they be?
But
They
it's
can't
fucking
target
hilarious.
during the abduction, right?
What?
Oh, let's find out.
What's the question?
Can you
go ahead?
target something that's being abducted while it's in the abduction?
I don't think so. No, it's too fast.
So
QXC's testing, I think.
Yeah, I'm checking.
you gotta throw down a binding cloud and then abduct banelings onto your Terran opponent.
Oh, that'd be sick.
Yeah, it's. I've also used oh no, not on my own units. Okay, but yeah, it's. I mean, it's only for shitting around. I don't think that it's viable or worth it for saving any unit that's not an Ultralisk, really.
Yeah.
So
What about
maybe you could do it against Fester. Yeah, really.
like you could even do some sick anti-Hunter Seeker micro by like abducting the Corruptor or Broodlord that got.
I don't. Okay, hold on.
what I did
guess
once.
I'm stupid. What is the rules on the new Hunter Seeker missile? Because I'm like really confused when it's hitting me and when it's not. Like I can't outrun it if the red goes away or something. Like I have to get out of the range before red is gone.
So the unit that's targeted turns red,
Yeah.
and if you don't leave the get out of range, I'm not sure how far away it has to be, within 5 seconds, then it speeds up and hits.
Okay. Because
And you can't.
I
and
thought
you
I
can't
could like
run away
dodge at
once
the
it
last
leaves.
second. Like before.
Like once it leaves the thing, you can't run away from it.
Right.
The Raven.
Yeah. Okay.
Also,
Also-
a unit that's being abducted can be hit. It's not invulnerable at any point.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that. The other thing that I did do once is like have a bunch of overlords like head somewhere as if I was gonna drop there, and then like abduct them into somewhere else, like into another expo. It was pretty funny because it was a sick trick. Obviously, these are games that I already won, and then but yeah.
By
I
the
don't
way,
think should be
Go ahead.
viable. Go ahead.
can we talk about Mutalisks in PvZ for a moment and the Mothership Core and how the Mothership Core I think is smart because of Mutalisks, but if you don't go Mutalisks and I have Mothership Core, it might be too strong. You know what I mean? Like
I think
I
Mothership
feel
Core
like
is fine
if I
for the most part. I think it's fine. I think it's a really good unit. But
yeah, it's
I don't.
really good. Like I just
You think it's too good?
I feel cheap sometimes when I just walk, because you know how Zerg like prepares for an incoming army. Like I will
Yes.
walk up to the hatchery, make a force field wall everywhere so they can't touch me, target the hatchery, and recall home. And it's like, well, now you don't have a fourth base, and now we're both on 3 bases. What?
Yeah.
So
okay,
I
was
don't
thinking
know
of
if this
the
is.
overcharge.
No, the overcharge is like totally balanced. It's like fine.
Yeah.
fine
Yeah,
spell.
I think it's fine.
Like
too.
I actually think that's a really interesting, cool one. But the town portal ability, I'm like, just against Zerg because I literally do exactly that. If you hit someone on the ladder that makes these force field walls and is a barcode and he recalls right away, that's me. Because I get a base every single game. Like you walk up and do that, which is weird. But
Shouldn't, like, it seems like that's a fault of the Zerg being out of position. Like,
just the
a little
way
bit.
that Zerg defends, the thing is they don't want to engage you way ahead of the hatchery. Like just the
Okay.
timings of like the rounds coming out and stuff.
They want to
Yeah.
wait as long as possible.
I feel like if I just make a beeline to your hatch like immediately, they might hit you a little bit on the way, but it's like not the full engagement until you're at the hatch, at which point I can set up the force field wall, which you could never do before, because then you're out of force fields and they crush your army and you lose. But now I can do that, waste that energy, and be fine. So that's
Yeah.
like, I'm nervous that might become too powerful, especially with MC, man. Like, I can just see him doing all sorts of gross stuff with like blinking force fields and just getting out of there. I don't know, but what do you think about mutas in ZVP right now? Because
I
at
think
first
they're
I was
probably
really
the best.
scared.
Yeah, I think they're probably one of the better army compositions that Zerg can get. And they fare pretty well against Phoenixes until they get the range, I think, because of the regeneration. So I think Mutalisks are a strong unit composition, and yeah, I think I like CVP a lot. So
Yeah.
like most Zerg players seem to think that like Mutalisks is the only way to go. I kind of disagree with that.
Yeah.
But
Well,
they're definitely really good.
no, they're really good, but I feel like that's what the Mothership Core is for, because at first when I was playing against them, I thought they might be too good, but then I had the Mothership Core, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can like zone out the mutas a little bit when they first come when it's hard, and then I do have that recall so that I can perhaps win a base trade or something, but I don't know, the mutas are pretty interesting. I like all these matchups right now, man, they're pretty good, except PvP, which is broken.
Why is it broken?
Yeah.
The Void Ray is too good against Stalkers, man. It's so silly. Like,
But Dan, you can make Void Race as well, man.
I know. That's what I do, man. You play on the ladder and someone comes at you with 3 Void Rays because you are stupid enough to make a Nexus, man. That's me.
But you lose to Phoenixes, right? If that happened, or no?
Well, then you don't do that. Then it's just Phoenix versus Phoenix. And it's like, it is what it is.
So you would always have to open Phoenix, then, at least. I don't know shit about PvP.
I feel like it. Yeah, we don't need to talk
Oh, we're
about
talking about PvT?
No,
well,
not yet.
it.
So
We can talk
oh.
about that soon.
Okay.
yeah, I mean, finishing thoughts on CVP, I guess. Like, at least there's a lot more variety than I feel like in CVT. Like, you can go for this, like, right now in the current metagame, like, you can go for, like, Stormhost all in with Queens. Hydras and Roaches are a lot more viable than they were in Wings of Liberty. And this is a question that, like, a lot of people ask, and they're like why, like, what the fuck? Like, why are Hydras so much better now if they just got the speed? I'm like, no, that's not it. The thing is that they have a transition now, where in Wings of Liberty they did not. Like, you can get Vipers afterwards, and your Hydras won't just melt to Colossus, because you can actually pull the Colossus onto your Hydras and kill
Does
it
anyone
instead.
still go Colossus when they see Hydras? Because I just stopped doing it because of the Viper.
What, do you go Storm? Straight into Storm?
Yeah. I keep on macroing up and make sure I have enough force fields that I can't die, and then I eventually go into Storm. Because the Colossus is just, the Viper is like too good against Colossus tech without High Templars.
Yeah,
That's
a bunch
what
of people
that's
still
what I've
go.
been
Like,
feeling.
if you still have like overwhelming numbers of Colossus, like there's certain micro that you can do, like blink onto their army with your abducted Colossi kind of
Yeah.
shit.
Oh, that's
Or yeah, it's kind of cute. Or Void Rays are pretty cost efficient against pretty much everything except for maybe Hydras. But if you have Colossi, then they're fine.
yeah.
So I don't know. I think
that's-
Colossi are still good. It's just-
Yeah, I guess with Void Rays they're pretty good, man. Which begs the question: will Cruncher return?
Oh shit!
I just can't help it, man. That guy made his entire name off of 2 units. But
Yeah.
do we have any other thoughts about that matchup?
Wait, no.
I thought you were going to say about Cruncher. I was like, well, Edward couldn't help it either, man.
I really like it. I think that Protoss, the all-ins got stronger, and I haven't been seeing enough of those all-ins, mainly because I feel like Protoss is playing around with the new strategies. But things like Immortal all-in with the Mothership core might be too strong, because one, you have the mass recall that you didn't have before for counterattacks, like you said, and two, you have the time warp, which is just fucking stupid at zoning units out, like flanking units. You can't really flank.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that will come into play, because I don't think Protoss players are doing it right now, and I think that's part of like, oh, it's a new game, I'll try new shit.
Yeah. I agree.
I think Void Rays are strong, but it's really nice that they nerfed the supply. I think that was a good nerf. Tempests need a supply nerf, I feel. And I
How
feel
much
like
supply are they right now?
4?
4.
They're only 4. No wonder I can get so many of those. Oh my god.
They were 6 earlier in beta, and then they made
Six
them 4.
6 is way more appropriate. I
Yeah,
agree.
even 5
I concur.
could be.
Yeah.
Um,
No, that's
but yeah,
silly,
4
man.
is silly.
20 of those in High Templars. Thing is, you don't need 20. You need like 8.
Yeah,
But,
it's still like they take no supply, so that's nice. Ultras are too good on the ground, just like against Bio. But then the problem is like if it's that late, the Protoss should already be transitioned to air, I think. But yeah, I think it's a really fun matchup, because the Zerg has the ability to be on par with the Protoss for the most part until the very late game, and then you get shit on.
I concur. All right.
PvT.
Let's do it.
QXC's turn. I guess
Go
it's Dan's
QXC.
turn to start.
I
but-
think PvT is fine. I like almost never lose.
Yeah, I guess that means it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. I think it's really balanced because I never lose.
Okay, here's my problem with PvT. There's like 3 issues that I have, and most of them are Widowmine related. First off, well, this one's more the medevac. I can scout and see that you are going for a medevac with Widowmines, and they are getting into my base if I didn't go Stargate. Like, they will burrow if I didn't go Stargate.
Just go
no matter what.
Stalker with Observer.
Yeah, no, I do that. The thing is, you don't know what angle they're coming in from.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
mean,
like,
they'll get in your base, but you shouldn't take any damage from them.
no, that is, I agree with that to a certain extent, but some of these like really good Korean Terrans are getting 2 medevacs with like 2 or 3 Widowmines each, and they'll hit both your bases at once. And it's like, to juggle your probes, you lose a lot of mining time. They burrow and then they shoot so quickly, and with that type of range, you actually have to be so careful how you clear them out with stalkers. Like, really, really, really careful. And you have to keep track of like oftentimes 6 different things in 2 bases. You have to keep track of all at the same time.
I mean, it's usually more like there's 2 places, and you just put an observer over one.
Well, I disagree with that, because the really good Korean Terrans that I've been hitting they're like dropping like maybe 2 in the main and then 2 in the natural, then they fly the medevacs in and like try to... It gets messy, and my problem with it isn't necessarily the damage, but the fact that even if I know it's coming, I can't like crush it like you normally can with a strategy. Like, if you see such a tech-heavy type of thing coming, you should be able to like snap its neck.
Is this a one base that you're talking
I
about?
actually have something to say about this.
What do you have to say?
Against the Widowmine, the mine drop shit, right?
Yeah.
So like Root Protoss has had a lot of trouble with that, right? Like Succeed sitting next to me went Stargate and Phoenix, which is what you were saying. If you didn't go Stargate, you die. And then Kiwikaki actually came up with a build where he makes 2 gateway expand with a forge, and then makes a cannon each meter line.
Yeah.
Oh, cannons are really good against Widowmines. You basically can't... It's like almost not worth doing them unless the cannon is poorly positioned. Like, if you can put the Widowmine out of range of the cannon, in range of the mineral line, it can still create the chaos. But if you just drop them in the mineral line, as long as Protoss pulls their probes away, it's usually a lot more tame to defend.
Yeah, I've been going for quite a few quick forges against this crap, but I don't like that as an opening, because here's my second issue. Terrans right now are not walling in as much as they should, like insta-walls, like they do in Wings of Liberty. Right now in Wings of Liberty...
That's because of the mothership core.
No. I don't mean the fact that they aren't walling in at all. Because most Terrans that I've seen, for the most part, are still walling overall against Protoss. But I mean the depot drop immediately so a probe can't get in.
Yeah.
Because if the probe can't get in, then suddenly you're like, oh, okay, what do I do here? And if you open with the cannons, like you're saying, CatZ, and they went like...
Right, anything else.
You know, a Marine-based strategy or something, you die, and you're like, oh, what do I pause? Like, they can play Wings of Liberty against you. Yeah, I guess that fixes everything. Like, what?
I mean, most Wings of Liberty builds are just garbage against Protoss. Either it's because of the overcharge, or they're just not able to deal with oracles. And I think the is a good argument that you shouldn't be seeing very many bio builds.
And you don't see as many, but the problem is if they block your scouting completely, the amount of time it takes you to scout the standard Wings of Liberty bio build, it's like one of these things that you can mix in where you have this tactical wheel that's a little bit messed up, right? Where it's... The thing is, I'm not really having like a huge problem with this, but I see it becoming a problem where the randomization of Terran play behind the wall-in is going to be an issue for Protosses to actually deal with correctly and have a transition against everything. It feels like it's going to get a little bit too guessy, too coin flippy.
So basically what you're saying is that in Wings of Liberty, the responses to like not knowing what they were doing, you could kind of do like a general thing and be mostly... In Heart of the Swarm, because of the Widow Mine, if you want to really counter the Widow Mine, you're investing in something that isn't useful in basically any other situation.
Yeah, like if you want to go for those cannons, then suddenly in these other situations you're screwed. And the thing is, I'm trying to find builds that kind of counter everything, but it's really difficult when you add in the full range of Wings of Liberty builds with some of the new tech builds and mech and stuff like that. Like, you're going to find yourself doing something like getting +1 ground armor against someone who's going for just straight mech, and you have 2 cannons, and you're like, well, this isn't going to help me at all. What if I may as well cancel this armor that's about to finish? Like,
isn't that your build? What Artosis just said? I was asking Dennis. I think he does. Don't you do that thing with the Forge, and you like the cannons too? The Kiwikaki did against the Widow Mines, and then you go +1 armor, right? What if they go mech? Huh? Oh, he hasn't played around with it yet. So okay, your argument stands.
All right. Well, my point is that like you are going to get into like this really bad build matchup a lot of the time because the range of what Terran can do right now against Protoss is huge. So it's like really hard to get like a super solid thing against this. You know, then I guess you can try to put on some extra pressure to deal with that. But the thing is, if they happen to go quick Widow Mines and have them burrowed in the right location, it's like, oh, this is... Like, why did I go for an Oracle? I just happened to fly in at the wrong angle and a Widow Mine is there. And
be able to scout pretty well with an early Mothership Core, though, and, like, figure out what they're doing?
Well, if you scout with that early Mothership Core and they went for Marines, then the Mothership Core just dies. And, like, you know, it's the circle that I have a problem with here. Like,
I guess if you scout with the Mothership Core and they have Marines, then don't you kind of know what they're doing? Like, really what it feels like to me is as a Protoss player, you should be checking their gases with the Mothership Core. And if you are familiar with Terran builds, just by seeing the gases and how much gas is mined, you should have a very good idea of what they're doing. And it's pretty hard to deny that scouting on a lot of maps.
Yeah, I mean, you can check the gas to a certain extent, but the thing is, what if they have 3 or 4 Marines, which isn't going to be super duper uncommon, right? So and it's like Daybreak, like, and they took, well, not Daybreak, that's not a good example. Well, no, Daybreak is a good example.
By the time you scout with a Mothership Core, though, wouldn't you have already chosen your tech path?
Maybe.
Yeah. So
I mean, I think the Mothership Core gets to their base around 5 if you build it and Chrono Boost it right when it comes out. Which I'm not familiar enough with Protoss to say
that's not like the coolest opening ever either. And if they happen to be going for some sort of Marine pressure, like this is not. I mean, the theory crafting that's going on right now is not GSL winning type of, you know, like, I feel like the problem is the tactical wheel that I feel like is going to come into play because of the difficulty in scouting, the huge range of different things that Terran can do against Protoss.
Yeah, it seems like Terran was just doing that against Protoss, and then like Hellbat drops against Zerg, and they haven't gotten to play with all the toys.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's kind of scary. It's kind of scary that
Yeah, build randomization, even Wings of Liberty in that matchup can be hard. I mean, look how many championships Pumas won off of the back of 1-on-1s and triple commands. So, I don't know. That's a little bit scary. But my other thing that again, the Widow Mine, I feel like it might have too much range. 5 range, like the fact that I can't attack move a Stalker at it and succeed every single time in killing it when I have an Observer over it is like.
you can't attack with the Stalker.
No, you can, but like.
I think that's a problem with the AI though. Or
No, I know, which is like that. And the thing is,
So give
it's
it
good to
4.5
have AI
range
boost.
then.
Dan, how
It's
upset are you getting when your Stalker gets pushed by the AI and then it kills 2 or 3 into the range? Do you just flip your keyboard and get a new one from TT Esports, or how does that work, man?
I don't go like this. That's for sure. But no, I don't know. Huh?
Mine is
What?
pretty durable. Did you know that QPad makes the most durable keyboards in the entire world?
That's not true. My
I tested
keyboard's
that.
made of diamonds. It's the hardest.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
Saw a couple buttons fly out of that. It's like red
Yeah.
stuff. flying out of
More than a couple.
yeah. That was against Leia, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Matt.
I could see.
Um,
Did you guys? By the way, just a really quick side note. Did you guys see that clip of him with the Colossus in the warp prism?
Yeah, no, we showed that last week.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. That was on State of the Game last week. It was crazy.
That was so good.
That was pretty good.
But anyways, you have any problems TVP QXC? You said you win basically all of them. What do you like to go for?
the last, I mean, I'm not going to tell you all my secrets, but the last TVP that I really remember like losing, like sometimes I lose to stuff like a 4-gate because I just don't really scout it, but my build right now is pretty safe. The last guy I lost to was like a 450 APM, I like maybe GSL or Kespa player. Like that's what it felt like when I played him. There were
So many of them.
yeah,
It's sick.
and he just like we got to the mid game and it was like every 10 seconds like my bases were being attacked and like warped in and stuff, and I didn't feel like that was the matchup. It was just like this guy was just much better than I was. But usually I open a pretty safe build with an early Reaper, use some Widow Mines for pressure and defense, and then transition into Bio Hellbat.
Yeah, Bio Hellbat. That was tricky for a little bit. Zealots aren't very good against it.
No.
I found that out the very hard way.
Oh, man.
I mean, hopefully you only had to do that lesson once. It's usually pretty obvious.
Yeah, actually, it was once.
A move, 20 Zealots into Hellbats, they just all die, and you're like, oh, okay, new game. But
sometimes.
I found the Hellbats solve a lot of the problems that Terran players were having with the mass Zealots and the mass Zealot warp-ins, and it also adds another line, which helps mitigate some of the splash damage. Like your units just naturally don't clump up as much, which is really nice. Because you have a 2-range unit, a 4-range unit, and a 6-range unit now. And what?
No, I'm like imagining that ball with some ghosts in it, and just trying to figure out like how to perfectly stop that with the Protoss army. It's hard to figure out actually what units to mix in there
It's
without
usually
the Zealot shields.
Archons help because they do bonus against the Hellbats.
Yeah.
Colossus are always good. Hellbats are not a response to Colossus at all. And then just good storms is usually.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of gas.
It is a lot of gas.
That's how Protoss works though. In this matchup, like if you
Well,
don't have gas, you can't kill the Terran army once it gets.
That's true, but the problem, I guess, would be getting to that gas correctly. Especially when you have to figure out, like, do I open Phoenixes or not, or something. Like, have you hit a lot of Phoenix Colossus? I feel like that's way better than it was in Wings right now. It's kind of neat. Like, double Robo Colossus, 1 Stargate Phoenix.
Is it better now than in Wings of Liberty? I mean, Phoenix.
That extra range on Phoenix makes a huge difference.
No, I haven't really
way
seen
better against Vikings than they used
Usually-
to be. Way better.
Usually when people did that to me in Wings of Liberty, you just throw down an extra starport. So instead of like 2 reactored, you go 3 reactored.
Yeah.
And you just like make a ton of Vikings and then good EMPs, and You're usually ahead on upgrades too. I haven't seen very many people who have done that style well against me.
Yeah, it's really hard to get upgrades for that. I haven't played around with it enough in HotS yet, but it looks like it might be something worth me trying out for a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. The Oracle, I think, is a really frustrating unit for the matchup, especially when I first switched, because probably like 80%, no, probably every single Wings of Liberty build, you just couldn't transpose it the way you kind of can in TvZ. Like, you can still do CC first, 2-Fac, Blue Flame, or CC first, Hellion, Banshee. Like, that's still a thing in TvZ. TvP, your build absolutely has to be ready. Like, you have to know if it's going to be a proxy. If it's going to be a proxy, your build has to be able to build an eBay at like 4:30 or 4:45, or you can't get the turret up in time. And then if it's not a proxy, you still have to get an eBay by around 5:30 so that you can get it up by 6:30, which is when the Oracle usually flies in.
Yeah.
Don't you just need a mine?
Well, that's their solution.
Yeah, if you place the mines correctly. Like, I stopped going Oracle because a lot of people were just preemptively going mines, especially when they scout 2 gas. They're like, well, screw it, I'm going to put a mine in my mineral line.
Part of the issue is I'm not sure the Protoss metagame has advanced. Like, at least when I play on ladder, I'm like, okay, you're probably going Oracles, because everybody goes Oracles. It's the easiest free win if your opponent doesn't know how to deal with it. But like Artosis said, the Terrans especially are like realizing that you just blind counter Oracles like almost every game if it's likely to happen. And then we'll see some more variety out of the Protoss.
Yeah, I don't even like Oracle openings right now against Terran. They were so much fun at first, just punishing these little Terran scrubs with 4 Marines in their base. But everyone does blind counter it now. I don't actually. When I open Stargate, I open Phoenix now. You may as well, because
might come down to what you were telling Dan though, Kevin. Maybe you need to like check for the gas timing somehow. I don't know, maybe with the Reaper or something.
No, you do. That's exactly how I do it. It's
and you can't stop that Reaper from scouting it either.
Yeah, it's actually impossible.
Yeah.
You need like the sickest game sense and also like a little bit of luck.
What else could it be? A Robo?
Like if
Colossus?
it's 2 gas,
base
no,
Colossus,
it's not
or?
Colossus. It could be a Robo Immortal, like an Immortal all-in off 1 base. It could be Blinkstalker, DTs, Void Ray all-in. Those are like the main things. But usually you just check, do they have 3 pylons? If no, you send the Reaper and scout the entire map because it's like Sonic the Hedgehog. And then you find the proxy Stargate and you win the game. That's like how
would 2 mines really fuck you over against the other 2 options that you mentioned?
No, the mines are pretty solid on defense no matter what.
If they make an observer, they aren't.
Yeah. If you actually go observer, there's
like if they do. Nobody who's done Immortal all-in has really like microed effectively against mines, but that's also because I usually sit on 1 base and it's at the top of a ramp. But I kind of imagine a Blinkstalker observer all-in. Like, everyone was like, oh my god, Mothership Core, like, you could do Blinkstalker so much faster, but I actually think, like, Blinkstalker observer may still just be the better all-in, because you can kill all the mines and then win the game if your opponent tried to open that way.
Yeah, that is true. If your opponent opened heavy mines, you'd probably just win with that.
Yeah, it's like you can't blink. Like even just Stalker Observer pressures.
Well, actually, you know, something frustrating that I've run into when they realize that I have observers all over the place, they just start scanning.
Yeah,
and like the mine kills the observer, and you're like, so.
I think it's really interesting. This is kind of an aside. How the mine placement strategy varies based on the match because of your opponent's ability to detect. So like against Terran, if you Widow Mine drop, you try and put every mine in a different scan region.
Yeah.
So then they have to use as many scans as possible. Against Protoss, you try and put them all in the same place so that you can scan and try and kill the observer when it comes.
Yeah. Well, I think
we're good.
We talked about everything, guys.
Yeah, I think maybe next week we'll save the mirror matchups, because I think a lot of people are just wondering unit composition and what's best, but we might want to save that for next week.
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. How many Marines can an Oracle kill and win?
There's no counter.
Well, no, I mean, it really matters the situation. You mean an Oracle versus Marines heads up?
No upgrades, one Oracle versus some number of Marines. How many can it kill?
I think it kills 4.
I think it's 6.
Okay, what's the question again? Because I
think
thought
it's
it was
4.
The Marine walks into a bar question.
How many Marines does it take to kill an Oracle? I think it's 5.
The Oracle will kill
I think it's 5.
and loses the 6.
It will kill 5? Really?
Yep.
It actually kills 5? I thought it was 4.
No, it's 5.
I know 2 kills all of them.
Are you doing this in the unit tester?
Yeah, it's just a move, no micro.
But I mean, wouldn't the Marines have an edge if you can sort of like move towards the Oracle or no?
No.
Sure,
Alright.
I can't micro an Oracle and
Well, no, it wouldn't. It wouldn't though, because the Oracle range is so small, and it kills Marines so fast that I don't think micro. If you have 2 Oracles, then micro comes into play, but 1, nothing. Everything's going to be shooting the whole time.
Probably.
All right, let's do some shout-outs. So I'm fucking exhausted. Dan,
Okay.
Yes.
some shout-outs.
Okay, follow me on Twitter. It's Artosis. There's GSL tonight. Despite what these 2 hardcore nerds are doing, you need to watch GSL because it is the sickest show, and this is the last season of Wings of Liberty. We have great matches tonight, such as MC against Roro and Tasia against Sulky. Both really sick. So definitely check that out. And big props to TT Esports, my sponsor. Check them out, ttesports.com. And
Where's
that's
the
it.
b-boyness today? You're not b-boying it up.
I don't know, man. I'm not always a b-boy. I have a lot
The
of
yoga
different...
took it out of it, is I think what happened.
I'm just too calm today to sing about my troubles.
Gotcha. Kevin, QXC Rally, let's do some shout-outs.
Follow me on Twitter, Cole_QXC. If you're interested in coaching, tweet at me, send me an email, qxc.coaching@gmail.com. And
Holy shit.
check me out when I stream. It's ColeQXC on Twitch. Big thanks to Complexity for being my team and our sponsors. And thanks to you guys for making a fun show and for having me on it, JP.
Thank you for coming on. Cats, some shout-outs.
Yeah, the 3 of you for a really fun discussion tonight.
I
and,
contributed a lot, thank you.
Oh, that's so sweet. I want to do my... I have one more shout out.
Shut up, Dan.
The 3 of you, because you guys are great, and this is...
Shut up, Dan.
Okay, go ahead with your shout outs, Cats.
That's keyboard for sponsoring Root. Best keywords in the world, easily. Even better than QPAT or TT Esports.
They're the most durable.
Okay, that's it. We're going to take all these keyboards and hit them against each other and see who wins.
Let's do it. Let's send it to Mythbusters. We will find...
Just send me one of each. I'll tell you which one is the strongest.
Oh, shit, that's true. The QXC
Favorite
test.
media on Twitch as well. And follow me on Twitter, @RootCats. And yeah, I think that's it. Watch my stream.
There you go. By the way, where did the head cam? Where did that idea come from? Because that's pretty awesome. Yeah. So if you haven't watched Cat stream before, is it every stream or is it every now and then?
No, it happened. It happened one time. I was I think showing the apartment, and people were like, "You should just keep it there." And then I put it under my headset.
Yeah.
And it hurt like shit. So then I actually just taped it on the.
Okay. Yeah, so he strapped a webcam to his head and streamed StarCraft. It was actually really cool because it was responsive enough. It could, when he would move, when he would look at the minimap or when he would do something, you could see the head move and look at that area. It was that responsive. It was actually a really cool thing
How
to
do you
see.
line that up with your eyes? That seems...
Well, I mean,
I would put the head.
Is it easy?
I'm sure
like
it wasn't
it,
like
like,
a science or anything.
Put it like that, kind of. So.
Huh.
Like a little bit looking down, I guess.
How much do you move your head when you... Like, I don't know how much I move my head when I play.
That's why I was sick.
Almost none at all, really. Like JP said, if you look at the minimap, you actually like move it a tiny bit.
Yeah, you can notice subtle
sometimes.
movements.
I could see that. Like,
It was
Yeah.
cool.
Or just like when I listen to music, I guess. Yeah, I just had it on the little camera thingy too, so you could actually see me like playing the actual game and then see my view in the little square.
I have all these funny ideas of you like using it and like you're owning some nerd, and then you like turn over and like there's a book that you're reading, and then you like you look down at your own crotch for some reason, and then like you look over and you make a muscle, and like that could be funny.
It looked fucking sick when I actually drank stuff. Like I
Yeah,
would drink,
exactly.
Like, you know,
It was
grab
cool.
a cup, and then when I would drink it, it would
Like,
seem
oh! Because the water's all coming at me.
Oh man, it was cool. It was cool.
It wasn't in my mouth, but yeah, it had been.
Sick.
You should have poured it
Like,
on
you
your
have it
head.
in your mouth. Like put that in your tongue.
Like we watched the back of CatZ teeth while he smokes.
There you go. That's the next level. That's the next
MVP
level.
could do it.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm sure he could.
Oh yeah, I actually could. You could just do a mouth cam with it. So my shout out to Keo7763 on Twitter. Random guy was sending me vids to play throughout the episode on the topics that we were talking about. So you're an awesome person for helping out the show like that. And I guess the other shout out, on Sundays I started a new show called Role Play, where you get to see myself, In Control, Livin' Pink, and Ryan Moore play Dungeons and Dragons. And it's pretty fucking awesome. So check that out. It's at 8 p.m. Eastern every Sunday. The VODs are going up on YouTube every single day. So check that out. Other than that, that's it for State of the Game. I'm out. Dan, Thursday next week? Is that when we're doing it? We're good?
Oh, you want to do it Thursday next week?
Well,
Wait, you mean the same time next week?
Yeah, I mean, same time next week. Is that, you good for that? All
I'm
right.
good.
Thursday next week. We'll see you guys then. We're out. Peace. Uh-oh. Hold on. Let's do that again. Got to bring the volume up. All right. We'll see you next week. Peace.
No fans block over here, folks.
Gotta say is it's an honor to play you Teeler, and let's give the audience the show of a lifetime.
Oh.
Yeah, apparently looks like I was wearing lipstick, by the way. I can't confirm or deny that.
Like literally, like, hey Sean, so what